Hey, Vedya. Hi everyone. My name is Taapas,
And I'm Danish.
and we are here. And today we're going to talk about families and growing up. So I think Danish and I were having this conversation a year ago where we started to realize how our families have started to see us in a different way and they've started to treat us in a different way. And I think it is this transition that we all go through in life, and right now we are going through it, and we are finding it very surprising, and we're also very happy about it. And yeah, it's just been very it's been unique for us. I think that's the word, unique, है ना?
Yeah, it's again, yeah, true. It's very unique, and it's also fun to see how uh, different our families view us now as compared to a few years ago. So I think when you're kids, I think I gave you this example like a long time ago. When you're kids, you're always close to your mom, but your dynamic with your dad is a little bit different. But as you're growing up, your dad starts considering you as his close friend rather than your own son, rather than his own son. Then, so your dynamic with your dad changes, and I think it's a very beautiful relationship that we develop with our own father as we grow up, and that's for boys actually. For girls, I think it's the other way around. They're close to their dads when they're kids, and as they grow up, I think the relationship with their mother changes.
Hmm.
So I think that's how it is. But for boys, yes, it's very fun to see your dad share every little detail about his day to you
Yeah.
once you're grown up, right? And
Yeah.
be it his business or be it his work or any other thing, he gets
Yeah.
excited. He has someone to talk to about. I mean, of course, our dads have had friends, and they
Hmm.
have friends and everything, but your relationship with your dad changes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think yeah, it makes me really happy that uh, it happens as we grow up.
Hmm. I think for the both of us, it sort of started when we joined our dads when in work. I think, yeah, for
Yeah,
you,
true, true.
yeah, for you and me both. So I think I'll sort of draw on my experience, and so when I work with him, I have to constantly refer to him as sir. And at first, it was it was very it was very weird. But then I started to also get the fun of it. Like, he will also look at me and smile. And of course, he knows that once that shift is over, he's that I'm gonna go back to calling him, dad. And I think so, calling him sir, and then seeing him in this different light, and that is something that is so amazing. Even right now, like, I think a week or two
Mm.
weeks back, we were at this family gathering, and he started to talk about currency and like what currency means and stuff. And
Mm.
I was in awe of him, like looking at him talking about so many things that I would never really have a chance to converse with him about. And sort of when I think when you age, you sort of start seeing those sides of your father. And it was
Yeah,
just
true.
I was just blown away by the amount of information he has inside him. But our conversations with your father will never sort of surpass that, occasional kya kiya aaj and sort of a thing. But then, coming back to like working with him, and so you understand how dedicated he is to his work, how passionate he is. Because I think in my experience, we sort of never really, I haven't been around to see him sort of talk about his work, but you see it, yeah, kahin na kahin you
Yeah.
do see it. But then when you witness it, I think it's a very different thing. And then when they witness you doing something that they have been doing all their life, and then you're alongside them, and you are equally passionate, and you are equally sort of engrossed in this similar thing, and I think they're just so happy to see you that way.
True, true. It makes them really, really proud, you know.
Yeah. And sort of they stop seeing you as this kid who they've always thought of, so पहले क्या होता था, they used to compare us with our report cards and stuff, and our
Yeah,
assessments made by our teachers. And then when you are there with them, and it's sort of a different thing, and you sort of connect to them on such a deeper level, because again I heard so many stories, so many things that I don't think I would have ever, you know I never knew that was inside of him. Because for us, we sort of see our parents in just one shade, है ना? And when that other shade sort of comes out to us, it surprises us. But then, especially me, I was so blown away to understand that my father is exactly like me in so many ways. And that was like,
rather you're like your father,
yeah, so
not the other way.
I'm like my father in so many ways. But it was a secret for such a long
Yeah,
time to you, and now वो दिखता है आपको, and I think even they respect that oh, he's my son, he is a reflection of me. And I think you start to connect with your parents in general also on a very deeper level after you move past that age where, I think when you आपका फोकस पढ़ाई कम हो जाता है और काम ज़्यादा हो जाता
yeah, yeah, true, true, very true.
है ना?
I
Even
mean,
in your
that's
experience.
growing up. Yeah, even in my experience, actually, I think it started for me somewhere during lockdown because so lockdown, of course, everybody was sitting at home and everything, and we had online classes. But I also started going to the office and sitting with my father for quite some time. I think it started at that time. So, like, and of course, doesn't have to be necessarily a certain circumstance like that or something. It happens naturally with everybody, I feel,
Again,
as they're
your
crossing
journey.
one age. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. So, yeah, so in my case, it was like in COVID, I was still sitting with my father, and um, for the first few weeks, it was like regular old things. Every single thing that I experienced from my childhood till then. But then suddenly, like one day, he started talking to me about how he when he was a kid, he also went to work with his father and everything, and then that's how we started a conversation. He was reminiscing about those days when my
अरे
grandfather.
that model story.
Oh yeah, that I've known for quite a bit, but yes, I'll say that as well. So my father, when he was in high school and college, I think he used to model, and there was this guy who owned a Raymond ka showroom. So my dad used to model for a lot of different showrooms and everything. So one day, my grandfather and my grandmother were actually in the Raymond's showroom, and my dad's picture was there. And my grandfather did not know about him modeling actually, my father modeling. So my grandmother and my grandfather was standing there in front of my dad's picture and looking at it in awe. My grandmother did know, and my grandfather was actually, I think, very proud to see my father in that picture, mashallah. So he was looking at it, and then the owner of the shop came by, and he went like, "Oh yeah, this guy, he's the best model of our store." And then my grandmother went like, "Yeah, he knows, he's his son."
Yeah.
So I think that was a very, very proud moment for my grandfather. Uh,
And
yeah,
again,
so
seeing him in such a different light, and
I know.
and वो एक होता है यार, because I think even when you must have, I know your reaction when you found out about this, but I also can't process that at one time my dad was a child actor and sort of I'm still in shock because now, again, you see these people in just one shade, and you sort
Exactly.
of
It's such a
you are,
different life
huh,
than what we
and,
we know. You know.
and when the other shades sort of start to come in, you are just so blown away, and I think that is so beautiful because I have always, like, we both have sort of known our parents as वो एक रोल निभाते हैं ना अपनी लाइफ में, एंड
Yeah. Yeah.
इट्स जस्ट लिमिटेड टू दैट, and when it
Yeah.
surpasses
True.
that, it's just amazing and so beautiful.
Exactly. You get to know them on a deeper level. Once you, I think once you start growing up, once you're somewhere around 18, 19, once your dad feels comfortable cussing around you. I
Very,
remember the
very big,
first time my
very big
dad did
thing.
that. For me, I always thought, oh, my dad could never, he's such a
Hmm.
simple and straightforward guy. But then one day I'm sitting in the office and he's like cussing at some guy. I'm like, oh my god, did my dad just
Huh.
do that?
It's
So I
just
think
so
that's the
shocking.
breaking point for that's the barrier for you and your father. And once you surpass
Huh.
that, I think it's a very
Huh.
beautiful relationship that starts. And even it goes both ways actually. Even our fathers feel very proud and happy, and so do we. We've never
Not
imagined to
when,
be.
not when we cuss though.
I know, of course, not about that, but the relationship that starts to develop.
Huh.
So like,
Yeah.
even we feel happy, and even we feel, oh my god, I never knew this man like this. For me, he's always
Yeah.
been my father, but now he's my friend, and it
Yeah.
happens very, very randomly and very suddenly. You'll never
Yeah.
realize that it happened, and once it does, you'll actually you'll realize, and you'll be happy about
Huh.
it, because
Huh.
having your father as your best friend, I think it's one of the best things that you
It's
can have. It's one of the best feelings, and
and huh. And so I think when I was so taken aback by all of this, I sort of had a conversation with someone. I think it was mom only, that I seeing him in such a different shade. It's just I'm truly in awe. And then dad sort of told her that I have always been this way, but we haven't been exposed to those
yeah,
parts, huh?
yeah, true, true,
And
true,
then
true.
when it happens, and so they always say कि जब आप बाप बनोगे तब आपको समझ आएगा. And in some sense it does make sense that why do why are they so limited in when we are growing up, वो एक रोल में ही फिट हो जाते हैं. And for us to sort of see them in that new light, we also have to go through a few changes. We also
Hmm.
have to evolve a little, and then we can sort of take them out of that role, and sort of they break away from it, and then that connection and all of that happens, and it sort of just changes your dynamic with your family, because when you're young, your friends become your priority because you are able to
Yeah.
connect to them, and you are able to tell them कि क्या चल रहा है यार. Where your family is, they have certain roles, like you would
Hmm.
come home, you would talk to your mom, and your dad would come home from work, and then you would never ask your dad how did his day go. He
Yeah,
would just,
true.
huh.
We don't. I think it never happened for any of us that हम सामने से कभी जाके अपने बाप को पूछे कि आपका दिन कैसा था.
Huh.
But I think that happens now,
Huh.
and for me it does actually. It does happen, and yeah. So you were saying, I think you should continue. Just wanted to add to
नहीं,
that.
so वही है ना. So we move past that age where our friends become a priority because of that sole reason that we are able to open our hearts to them and we are able to tell
Hmm.
them everything. So with age, when our parents sort of, when we are able to tell all of this to our parents, I think that dynamic sort of shifts and our family becomes so important to us, and it's also because of the reason that we know that our family is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're blood, ऐसा वही है.
True. True.
And
Very true.
no matter how far ahead you go in life, they're always going to be your mom, your dad, your sibling, your grandparents. It's always that those roles are just assigned to them. But I
Hmm.
think even when you evolve and you sort of connect so much with your family, they become suddenly, rather, they become this backbone in your life, and you realize that you can't go on without them. Pehle, when you're kids, you sort of know, you sort of neglect that fact. You're like, "Ha, theek hai na yaar," and they
Hmm.
don't have that much of an importance in your life. But I think when when you grow up and when you evolve a little, they become this backbone. I personally have a friend, and she sort of puts her family above everything, and I think that is so beautiful, that she does not let anything get in the way of that. Like even her plans with her friends or anything, she would always find that time with her family and she would keep it. And even when I used to always tell her कि मैंने मम्मी के साथ ये प्लान बनाया है, वो प्लान बनाया है, पहले वो होता था, बट देन बीच में a few things happened and my life sort of changed a little. And
Hmm.
sort of she reminded me कि पहले तो कितना बोलता था that you had made these many plans and that you'd done so much, and now you've stopped. And sort of that made me think that, huh. And and the most important thing is that they're always going to be there for you.
True.
And I
Very
think
true.
it's when you grow up that वो importance आ जाती है. And even those little things matter. Even when I have to sit and watch a, a TV show with mom, it becomes an important thing, because it also ironically happens that when we find that importance of them in our lives, we don't have the time.
Hmm.
and
True. Very true. Yeah.
and it's just very, I personally believe it's very tragic.
True. Actually, very true. Even in my case, um, I started getting close with my dad, and now we
Hmm.
have this distance, physical distance, that
Hmm.
because he's in India and I'm in Berlin, Germany. But I think it's fine. It's a part of life, and
Yeah.
but yes, again, it's a very beautiful relationship, and I cherish it very dearly. And
Yeah.
yeah, like for us, always our mothers have been everything. For guys, especially, your
Yeah.
mothers are everything to you since your childhood, and your father is just like, of course, he's your father, you love him, but
But it's a
it's
very,
it's a very different
huh.
relationship. Exactly,
Huh.
it's a very different relationship when you're a kid. But again, once you grow up, you suddenly realize that your father, oh my god, like he's such a different person.
Yeah.
You've never seen that sides of him. It's just amazing feeling, and I think I'm glad to have experienced it. um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's beautiful. I think even with our mothers, of course, we love them dearly, and
Yeah.
they've always been an important part of our lives. But even as we growing up, I think even our relationship with our mothers changes, as in like the
Huh.
dynamic of it changes, just like our fathers, and just like ours with our father.
Huh.
I think even our moms are now more comfortable sharing stuff and talking about a lot of different things, and
Huh.
just having like some different experiences that you wouldn't have had as a child.
Hmm.
So I think once you're in that adult phase, your mom is, of course, you're the prized possession of your mom and dad. That's for sure. So I think
Yeah.
the way once you grow up, it shows more. So like the other people notice more of how you are and how you grow up, right? So I
Hmm.
think they're very proud to see how you turn out to be, and they're very proud to see their own image in you, because of course
Yeah.
we're the products of them. So I think they're
Yeah.
very very proud and happy to see us grow like that, and have their interests and have their
Strange. You put it in a very strange way. Products of them.
I know, but again, it's true, right? It's true. We're
Uh-huh.
their products. So I think they get very happy to see that some things that they liked as a child, we
Hmm.
also do. We also do like
Hmm.
that.
And I think we grow
So
the ability to listen when we grow old. And I think you don't need to be old for that. But even if you just sort of sit and listen to your parents or your family members or anyone around you. I
Yeah.
don't, so I think when we evolve, when we change, we grow the ability to listen.
Hmm.
But I think if we actually, even in whatever stage we are in life, even if you're way too young, but if we actually sit and listen, we can understand so much. And the other thing is, I think I'm really in awe of that sudden shift that sort of happens of our families taking precedence over so much in our lives. And I think that
True.
is really important.
Yeah, it is. It is very important, and I think it happens with everybody. And
Huh.
again, it's a good thing as well, of course. Why not?
And
So
they also start to get us in a way. So, that happens when they understand a few things. And it's really, in a way, it's really beautiful that when they also start to understand and you understand, and you both reach a common page, and it opens up a very different sort of a dynamic where
hmm.
where where they also see you as individuals who are now moving forward in life and will have different goals and aspirations, and you also understand the weight of responsibility. And I think it's just really beautiful. I don't know.
True. It is. It
I
is.
huh huh so even, I mean, I have seen glimpses of this when they sort of take the extra effort to, make sure that you are okay, and that you are feeling okay, and that if
Hmm.
they have made a mistake, sort of they'll make up to it. And I think it becomes more and more, I think it becomes more important when that growing up happens, because again the whole dynamic changes and they sort of see the full picture, I guess. Because even for them, we are also trapped in some roles कि एक उम्र
Hmm.
में इतना ही हो सकता है, दूसरी उम्र, and
Exactly.
I think that is also why बीच में we sort of disconnect with them. It's because there's this clash of, ideas and values and beliefs, and we we sort of don't get them. But then again, parents हमारी भलाई के लिए सोचते हैं, वो हो जाता है, and we sort of go against that idea
Hmm.
that nahi, how I know my best. And I think all of that happens, and we sort of grow distant from our parents. And I think with time, all of that should sort of go away, and
Yeah.
it should open up the potentiality for so many beautiful things when
True.
they
True.
huh and so it sort of shapes even us as individuals, because now that we are able to be on that common page with our parents and with our family, and we sort of realize that there is so much love around us. Like, I think you were saying in the previous episode, where it also boils down to simple things like dinner.
Hmm.
And there's just so much love around us that's flourishing, and it's right here, and it's always been here, and we just have to accept it in our lives. And I think
Yeah.
when we reach that common page, it becomes easy for us to accept that love, and it
True.
becomes easy for us to see that our parents are really proud of us. And I think even that letting go, so even in your case, when you were going to Berlin and I was there, and uncle auntie were
Yeah.
there, and it was that sort of a thing where, when birds sort of have their babies, and they grow up to a certain age, and then they fly away.
Yeah.
And sort of in a way, it becomes very beautiful, because you have seen this person grow up and now they're taking on so many responsibilities, and you understand them, you know
Hmm.
and they sort of start to understand you in a way that you want to be understood. And I think we fight so much of our childhood, and we fight so much of the middle years, trying very hard for them to understand us. But when it happens with time, I think it, again, it opens up the doors to something so beautiful, that makes us realize that love is just all around us.
True. God, man, this. I think as children we would have never understood these things, and as you grow up, I think it's a very sudden realization. And as you start growing up, you realize these things. Like you said, our relationship with our parents, it sometimes it gets worse or broken when we're because we have disagreements on a lot of things
Yeah.
as teenagers when we're in our teens we disagree with them on a lot of things. So did I think every teen does, because
Hmm.
for us when we are teenagers we always think, oh no, I'm right and my parents are wrong, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's not really true, and that you understand that at a very not very later stage, but yeah, you understand that when you start growing up and you start maturing. And I think it's important for us to mend that relation. It's
Yeah.
in time, so that you could enjoy being friends with them, enjoy changing the dynamic of your relationship with them.
Hmm.
But if it's very important for us to mend it, because it takes efforts, man. It takes efforts from our side. Our parents are always taking efforts on us. The only effort that's lagging is from our side. As
Yeah.
teenagers we don't really care about that. But then I think when you realize sometimes the time has passed, so it's
Yeah.
better to mend it as soon as possible. Of course, it's not like it's not broken to such extent where it cannot be mended or at all. It's just broken to a very very small extent where with a simple sitting with them and talking to them, it'll mend it very quickly. So I think it's very
Yeah.
important
And
for us to do that.
yeah. And sort of sometimes, because of so many years of just not being there on the same page, we might also feel that we are not loved the way we want to be loved. And
Yeah.
you're never too old to ask for that love because they're your parents. And I think families are so important even moving forward in life when you even build your own family,
True.
because they become this reservoir of happiness. So no matter how difficult your day might have been, when you come home, it sort of instantly powers you through all of that. And I think when that happens, when that shift happens, when you don't dread coming home and when you're just looking forward to just sitting with them or just having breakfast with them or just being there and talking to them, I think that's just so beautiful that when you create that reservoir, you have the ability to go do the most difficult things out there, because you
Yeah.
always know that when you come back, you'll be okay.
They're gonna be there. Yeah, they're gonna be there, and everything will be okay. I think that's the best feeling. And because
Yeah,
of I think family, because of family, we dare to do a lot of things that we would never do if we did not have them.
yeah,
So they're
yeah,
very very important, and I think we should. We don't give enough credits or thanks to our
huh,
parents. I mean, of course, it's an unsaid thing, but like yeah, I think we should keep thanking our parents and keep telling that we love them, because
and
whatever we are or whatever we're going to become in life
huh,
is because of them. There's a very
yeah,
beautiful quote by Khalil Gibran.
huh,
So he says that parents are like a bow and children are like arrows. The more the
huh,
bow bends and stretches, the farther the
the
arrow
father,
flies. So it says, I fly not because I'm special, but because they stretched for me.
yeah.
So whatever you're gonna become or whatever wherever you are right now, it's only and only because of your parents. You know?
And I think not just parents, but everyone in your family, and because they
Yeah,
had this,
very
huh?
exactly. But what I was trying to say is,
No,
it's
no, huh?
the more
I
credit
understand, huh?
goes to our parents, because the amount of sacrifices it takes to be a parent is not easy. Of course, we will not understand that right now because we're not parents. but at some extent we do, not completely, but at some extent we do, because
Huh.
now as we're growing up, we see our older brothers or older sisters becoming parents, and we see the struggles that they're going through, that of course we could not see because we were kids when our parents were growing us up.
Huh.
So it's a very it, they sacrifice a lot for us. So
Huh. And I
we
think
we
even
should.
when we, even when we grow up and sort of, there'll be a phase when we have to sort of take responsibility for them.
Yeah.
And I think, I think you care so much because they become this, they become so important people in your life, because I think no matter what happens, there'll always be the people who are going to accept you however you are.
For who you were. Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly. Very true.
and Danish, I think that is such an important thing, because you need that in order to go through in life, because the world out there, it just tears you down. And and people are not lucky enough to have friends that stick by through and through. Like you and
Yeah,
I, we are lucky in that case that like we have two friends each who have been there for us. But I think
sure.
your family, when that becomes a resource of your happiness and of your grit, you are able to achieve so much. And I think even when you look at the families of anyone who you might consider very successful, it's because they have this beautiful relationship with their family and they have created that reservoir. And it's because they have this base of happiness to depend on, that no matter what life throws their way, they can go through. Because at the end of the day, nothing matters but the happiness that comes from your family and the bond you have with them. And I think, so you and I are very lucky, but there are people out there, and we also know of a few people who don't connect that well with their family, and that's okay too. And
Yeah,
it
that's
gets very difficult.
it's circumstances. I think that
Again, those circumstances are there, and
we
it
yeah,
gets very difficult.
but Alhamdulillah, we're very lucky to be like this, to be experiencing these things with our family, with our
Yeah.
parents, and I think we're very lucky to have friends who've been through thick and thin with us. I mean, there's more
Huh.
to come for sure. But yes,
Huh.
um, like I think we
But
were talking about this the other day, where I said that not everybody has friends. We
huh.
know a lot of people who did not have friends when they were going through a lot of serious problems, as in like serious
Huh.
problems for their age. When
Huh.
you're
Huh.
in
Huh.
like fifth grade, the most serious problem you have is I've not done my homework.
Huh.
So just an example. So like when they were in eighth or ninth grade and when they did not have friends, of course it's difficult, man, for sure.
Huh.
Because you're at such an age where, for you, of course, you love your parents dearly. But again, for you, because you're a teenager, you'll be like, oh no, my parents, they're wrong about this, or they won't understand what I'm going through. But my friends will. And if you don't have friends, it's a very difficult period. But I think, again, like we said in the last episode, that life teaches you to be happy even when you're alone. So I think those people experience that a little early, and others experience it a little late. But again, everybody has their own journeys to go through. And yeah, in the end, we do get friends, and we do have families who love for
Huh.
us.
And see, regardless, so coming back to what I was saying, was that when, so some people are not lucky, but to have that basal happiness is very important. And
Yeah.
sometimes it takes time to reconnect, sometimes it takes time to be on the same page, because those disagreements, that conflict always rises to the surface. And I
Hmm.
think in that situation, again, I believe the best thing to do is to listen and to understand, and to try to build those moments, those small moments. And you can always demand your love from them, because that's like your birthright. And
Yeah.
I think when you get all of that, you will realize that you don't need much more to go ahead. So
Hmm.
एक गाड़ी में पेट्रोल डाला जाता है so that it can go to a certain distance, and then you again fill your gas up at a petrol pump. And I think they sort of become that family, sort of becomes that petrol pump in a way, so that you can keep putting more miles into your car. And sometimes we still might not like them, sometimes we still might, have arguments with them and all of that. But at the end of the day, I think listening to them, understanding them, and being with them sort of takes us, sort of makes sure that we secure that reservoir and we protect it. And I
True.
think a lot of people, huh?
Yeah, I think they're the best form of therapy that you'll ever have. Uh, so yeah, and, so you can
Is just
continue what you're
sitting
saying.
with is just sitting with her
Yeah,
parents
it's
and,
talking
huh?
to them, listening to them. I think is the best form of therapy because yeah, it's just beautiful, man.
And even the jokes they start cracking, the digs they start
Yeah,
making at you. So all
I
of
know.
that sort of ties in such a beautiful way. And I think a lot of people really don't give that importance to their families until it's very too late. And and I just want to put it out there that, you need to protect what you have right now,
True.
and you need to
I
protect
think
everything that you have around you.
I really hope that after listening to this episode or podcast, they go and tell their family, their parents, their siblings that they love them dearly,
Yeah.
even if they have like a million arguments every single day. But it's just part of love. So I
Huh.
think it's very important for us to realize that to do that before it's not too late.
Yeah, and it's so
Yeah.
important in life, because that reservoir, again, as I said, has the ability to sort of get you through the most difficult of times. And ऐसे times होते हैं when there is no one with you, but your parents, your family, it's always going to be there because they're blood. They have to be there and they will be there. And
Of
sort
course.
of we forget that in the search of something so much more that we think we need. But I don't think we do. We just need that bit of a support in life to get us through. And it's there. And as you said, like, as you keep saying, that we just live once, and we have this ability right now to build as many beautiful memories as we can moving forward. And I think we should, so we should put back and contribute as much time as we can, sort of fine tuning our relationship with our parents. And I think it's a very important thing to do right now, when I think when you enter your 20s, because by the end of it you might have your own family, and you
Hmm.
need to love, cherish, and support the family you have right now, because sometimes it does get too late, and sometimes you do get caught up in so many responsibilities and in so much work that you don't have time for anything. And so I think you need to keep finding those small pockets of time to cherish them and to protect that relationship and that dynamic you have with them, because at the end of
True.
the day, that reservoir is never going to leave you. And
True. I think,
you,
and then
huh?
and also like I think to mend your relationship, I think it's never too late. As long as it's mended at the end, it's never too late. So even if you're in your 40s or 50s and your relationship with your dad hasn't been the best one, I think it's time that you go and tell them that you love them. And I think it's time to mend that relationship now, because for whatever years you that's left with them, uh, I think you can have fun, man. I think even if there's like 15 or 20 or 30 years left with them, it's still enough. So better late than never, I
Huh,
believe.
better
Better
late
late
than
than
never,
never.
definitely. And it's also about allowing them into your own life and sort of
Yeah.
opening up to them. And I've had instances where I've met people and where I've known people who have opened up to their parents and they haven't taken it in a very good manner. But then allow
Yeah.
some time, let it grow on them. And I think it's so beautiful that when they start accepting your quirks and, the very weird ways that you have grown up into, I think it becomes so beautiful because you also feel very happy and you also feel so proud that they are a part of the things that you also love. And they
True.
will nonetheless support you and they'll nonetheless be there for you. And I think that is just so beautiful and so empowering because we spend so much of our childhood hearing our parents tell us not to do so many things, and it just widens that gap between us and our parents. And then when finally they do come around and when they do start accepting your hobbies or things that they might not like, but they have to accept and acknowledge that you like those things. And I think when that
Mm.
happens, when they start actually investing in the things that you like and the things you like to do, I think it just makes things so beautiful. And you also feel good. You also start to accept yourself because at the end of the day, we are always constantly searching for validation. We need to be validated about everything. But when your parents sort of understand you and the things that you love and the things that you want to do, and you get that validation, you don't need anything else in life. When I think if your dad tells you that you've done a good job, you don't need to hear anything else because that means so much to you. And it's sort of this big check mark that I cannot forget. So because when I wrote, I think, my first script, and he read it, and he was just so taken aback, and he was so happy and proud. And he told me that, like, I have written something really good. And you sort of get so empowered by it that you find yourself in such a position that you're so happy, and you're so full of that happiness because your efforts are
Mm.
seen. एंड हमारा बहुत बहुत चाइल्डहुड चला जाता है. आर पेरेंट्स ऑल्सो बिकम वेरी बिजी एंड वी आर ग्रोइंग अप एंड our efforts are not seen. And so when all of that happens, when they see your efforts and when they acknowledge it, I think it's just so beautiful that it again strengthens that reservoir and that happiness and everything.
Yeah. I think that's about the relationship with your parents and how important family is, even with siblings. I think if you
Yeah,
have younger siblings, it's a very
it's a
beautiful thing
different
when,
kind of a thing, yeah. And i
yeah,
think i think we both have experienced this, that after one age you stop fighting with them and you
yeah.
sort of see them. So we go through that, we sort of understand
Yeah.
that, oh, they're just normal people and they're like us only in some to some extent. And then we start accepting them, and it's
I think
just so
even they
random.
start considering us as their friends,
Huh.
because they start telling us things that they've not told their best friends, or they've not told their parents.
Huh.
So I think even when that dynamic changes with your siblings, younger siblings especially, or even with your older siblings, it's a very, very,
Huh.
very beautiful thing when your younger sister or your younger brother comes and tells you, "Oh, I did this, I did that," or when
Yeah.
you go and tell your younger or elder siblings that, "Oh, I did this
Huh.
or I did that." It's a very beautiful thing. I think after a certain age, the dynamic with your family changes for you, and everybody experiences that. And
And
it,
it is very
oh,
integral, yeah, because so even with my younger brother, when all of that happened, when we stopped fighting pointlessly every day, and when we started to go out, and you could see him being very happy that he also feels accepted into your
yeah.
life and into. And so I think we all really want that. We all want to feel accepted, and we have our family, and that is never going to change, and our family is always going to accept us. Yeah, it takes time sometimes, and as we phase out of a part of our life and we move into another one, it will change. But it's very necessary for us to invest that time, to invest those efforts, because as you grow older, as the journey of your life continues, you're gonna have a lot of difficulties with your time, with your efforts, with even the mental headspace to just sort of sit and talk to them. But I think
Mm.
that's also, as you always say, a test. and it is a test. And the more you sort of start investing in it, and the more you sort of, you know, go through it, I think it just makes things very beautiful.
True, very true. Yeah. It's a beautiful journey again. It's the beginning of a new journey with your family, with your siblings, with your parents.
And
So
you need
yeah,
to
it's
accept that, and you need to accept it with open arms. And I think the biggest takeaway for me today is to keep investing that time, to keep putting in those efforts, because those small things matter, you know. And,
yeah,
you know, our parents or our siblings, we have always been blinded by the shade or the role that we've boxed them in. And if we do take the time out, they also have such an incredible life and experiences that we sort of kept ourselves away from. And
yeah,
we need to just open our arms, and we need to sort of accept that, and we need to invite that into our life, and we need to sort of just sit there and listen to them. And I think that is going to change so many things. And at the end of the day, that's all you want, that's all you look for in life, that reservoir, that
true.
support, that balance. And it's right there in front of your eyes. And it's high time that we all actually start appreciating it and start valuing it and protect it. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, if you protect and cherish it, I think it's just gonna bloom into something very beautiful. And it's something that we all need in life, and it's right there in front of our eyes. So we just don't need anything more. And sometimes, yeah, you might have a difficult relationship with your parents, or things might be complicated, you know, the situation differs for everyone. But I think it equally translates well to in you know, investing that time and effort and understanding the people around you, anyone, even
Yeah,
one person. And one person might not be able to suffice for the, you know, for the love and support of so many people. But I really believe that even one person is enough to make you feel that you have a reservoir filled with love and happiness, and you have someone that you can, you know, sort of go back to, and you sort of go to when you are having difficulties in life, and when you think that you can't get through this day. And I think
yeah,
it's very important that as we grow older, we start investing our time into all of those things, so that when the time comes when you are going through difficulties, you don't start questioning where did everything go wrong. And it's just a very simple thing, but it's something that should be very important. And some people get it, like the friend I mentioned to you earlier, she gets it. And in the long run, it is always so beautiful to have a relationship with someone, even with your your family members, or even with your friends, that is built on not the bridge of responsibility but of love. And that giving of love does not become a compulsion, but it's something, sometimes becomes something that's just come out of your heart. Because that gap, that does widen, and if we don't take time and efforts out, it'll keep widening. So just investing that time and effort, it's not that difficult as it might seem. But it's very important that we do that, because at the end of the day, everything might change. You know, your relationship with people might change, but with your family, it's just gonna be the way you let it be, and they're never gonna leave you, because they can't. And I think it's
true.
very important to build that reservoir, to build that resource in your life, so that you can keep going forward in life, and that you can keep facing adversities and difficulties. So yeah,
True, true, very true. Yeah. So I think
I think,
that's almost
huh,
it for today.
that's the
So
that's the
yeah,
end for today.
that was our opinions and views, and that was our talk on family and growing up. I think there's a lot more to discuss on this as well. So hopefully in the near
Yeah,
future we will also talk
in
about this
the
again,
yeah,
and
and
maybe
yeah,
invite our younger sisters or younger brothers, or maybe our parents, hopefully, and talk to
Yeah.
them about this.
And just
So,
spend time with them. Just even if
yeah,
it's sitting and having, your coffee or your chai with them, just sit and listen. And listening, I think, does pay off in the end.
true, very true.
And I think that is the basis of a very beautiful relationship. Any relationship, uh, listening is very important, and no matter what that person is. But I think even we spend so much of our time not listening to our parents and our siblings that we suffer from this gap that sort of keeps widening. So yeah,
True.
I I really hope that we are able to sort of bring even some minute change in your life that contributes to a good day and brings a smile on your face. And you can join our conversation. You can email us, and you can find the email in the podcast description or on our Instagram. And you can join our conversation, and because we believe that everyone deserves to be equally heard, and we are here. So yeah, we hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead. Bye bye. See you.
Thank you so much.